All right. I'm just doing my thing here and posting real quick. Probably shouldn't do that there. Can I do this? This should be fine. All right. I think I'm basically ready to go live. Just need to check. Excuse me. Yeah, I think we're good. Here we go. All right, so this is still the old model and the old art. So one of the first things we're gonna have to do today is we're gonna have to replace that. Also, it has been long enough since I was in Blender that I do believe I have forgotten some of the controls. So that'll be fun. So we need to split up the image into its view perspectives so that we can put them in the background here and work with them. Why are you going out of focus? Don't do that. Let's see, are these... Yeah, these are still good. Have to excuse my cough drops. Trying to fight off whatever this is. Okay. All right, so we need the perspectives. All right, can you, Photoshop, can you, there you go. Let's see. And try to do this in such a way that it's at least close to even. Crud. Let's just do it like this. We need copy, new, Uh, was that you either attempting to do something different, or was that because of the thing glitching out? Because it definitely glitched out. The timing on the redeem itself was just a little off, so that's why I ask. Okay. Can I? Nope. Nope. Oh, I wanted it to be the same size, but okay, whatever, sure. There we go. That's what I was trying to do. Why did that not? Trying the redeem, didn't want to fail with the fart redeem. Save that for game night. How am I feeling? In all reality, I'm feeling all right. It's more of a cough than anything else. Cough and kind of scratchy throat than anything else, which is honestly pretty par for the course anytime I get sick. That's generally what it consists of. Which is in a way is almost more frustrating, because it's like, one, harder to figure out exactly what it is, and two, it means like I feel fine. Now, granted, I bet if I went out and like did a bunch of stuff, I would probably be very tired. It does probably explain why, like last week, I felt really exhausted, like unusually so, and I chucked it up to having just come back from San Francisco and being jet lagged, which I weirdly enough I don't usually get. Like, I'm usually jet lagged for like a day, and then so I was like, oh well, I just came back, and then we had a time change because we still do that here, and I just, that's clearly the reason why, but it wasn't, so I don't know. This isn't what I want. Let's do it like this. Yeah, I would hope so too. I do have a real tendency to hang on to coughs for a long time though, which is not ideal. Alright, could you behave yourself? I have this thought of just replacing this draw, and then it will hopefully just like load into Blender automatically. Sure, this can't possibly go wrong. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, he's facing a totally different direction. There. Let's see, will it auto-load those images? It does not auto-load the images. So it's like temporarily storing the data then already. Interesting. All right. And we also have a back view. Computer, why? There we go. Just do this. B. We didn't really use a back reference previously because we didn't really have one, but we do now. So cool. All right. Now what I need to do, yep, I have gone and forgotten the controls, so this will be fun. I need to verify, one, that these two images are at least scaled to one another, if nothing else. Is it, what is it, Alt? Nope, that's not right. Nope. I mean, I can do that, but that's not ideal. Let's bring them into here we go. This will work. There we go. I can sort them out in the mirror. Oh, we got an ad break. That's all right. I'm going to basically get rid of the bulk of this model. I think. I don't know. I'm debating. I could reshape most of this, probably without too much of an issue. The face or the head I'll need to get rid of. That's going to be too difficult to simply sculpt into place. But also, I was modeling him in a T-pose, which is this is not, and that changes some of the musculature up in here. Because matters how that's going to be positioned when it's rigged in its static pose. So I'm thinking I'll blow away probably everything but the torso, like the upper torso, because I was redoing that part. And I was a little happier with the polygon count on that. So that's my general line of thinking. All right. So firstly, shit. Let's try to get this cleaned up. Edit mode. And I think we're just gonna thank you for the lurk. I'll get rid of that. And whoa, that got rid of more than I wanted it to? Why? Why? Okay, and then, oh, what the heck is the control for, is it shift? It's shift. You know what, in fact, let's just clear out that in general. And get rid of those. And I need to, because I locked location. Oh. You know, it would probably help get rid of this other stuff I don't need. Okay. Um, I forget what the scale is in Blender too, because that's going to somewhat matter. But I can kind of deal with that later when I go to rig and export, because I can always scale it up. I think technically speaking, I'm like making him really tiny right now. Let's see. That should put his feet on flat ground. That should put his feet on flat ground. Let me do this. Use that point to center him. That should be good. And then now, are the two scaled with one another is the question. No, not even a little bit. Now, I know that these lined up when they were drawn. So at this point, if I have any issues, it's due to how I cropped them to put them in here. That is pretty damn close, I would say. It's within the margin of error. And then we can lock these. Okay. Need to move him. Because that mesh is what he should be centered off of, which should put it about right there. That should be close enough. All right, can I freeze these? Is there like a freeze option? I don't. Freeze. Nope. I don't have a clue. Okay. Never mind then. I'll just deal with it. Okay, so do this, get into vertex mode here, and we can kind of start to make some adjustments here. Oh, shit. Okay. Probably put that guy there. That there. And I'm actually going to, if I can remember the friggin' commands, is it G? It is not G. D, nope. R? Nope. What is P? Nope. What is the insert command? Loop cut. Control R. Yeah, that's what I wanted. I'm going to add another loop right here so that I can give us a little more definition. Now we can move into bringing these more in line with the rest of the shape. And let's bring this inward. This inward. What was that notification about? What? Hold on. What? Oh, stop with all the notifications. Whatever, and it happened a long time ago, whatever Google did to make it where, at least on the Pixel, and he was even doing it on my old phone, emails come in like bursts, especially when you have multiple email accounts, is a freaking nightmare. What? That's interesting. That's very interesting. All right, well, I'll have to look more into that later. It was a weird notification. All right. Let's do this. This feels like it should be a little bit lower. That feels too sharp. And kind of the same here. All right. And we can also bring probably this down and inward, I would think. We can instead add a loop here and bring that out. There we go. Bring this outward a little bit. Actually, do it like this. I'm gonna bring this down to here. And then we can start adding in some loops. And we start to bring these down a little bit. And let's see. We're gonna do that. Let's do this. Trying to remember what the proper polygon flow would be for that. There's like a sort of an optimal. Let me see if I can find it. And of course, topology is one of those things that like everyone's going to have a different opinion on. Let's see. And now that's not actually useful because it's way lower detail. Yeah, okay. This is kind of what I was looking for. So basically, to start bringing this stuff around. The best way to do this Wait, what? What? How did I already end up with... Alright, hang on a second. Oh, I see what happened. There it goes. Okay. Do that. And then basically what I want to do is bring these. Oh, in this case, it's actually in truth only one. I'm gonna bring this down, like, say like that. And then we're gonna bring this all the way up and around over here, but through a series of loops, basically. So do like this. Bring him forward like that. It might be too harsh, but that's the general idea. And then we need to merge those. Let me bring this up. Merge. We'll go ahead and expand this out a little bit so it can meet that one as we get up to the connection point. Boop, boop, boop. Like that. just noticed. The little dudes aren't on this screen. That should be an application capture. Or window capture? Nope. Game capture? There it is. Oh geez. Why is it so big? There we go. They can hang out right there. There we go. Okay. And I think I already merged that, but just to be sure, I'll do that. Okay, and then we can actually do this, and then I don't, is it poly build? No. What is the fill? Oh, what is the fill command? Space? Fill. Alt F. Really? Oh, yeah, right. I need 4 for that. Right. That's fine. Center. Cool. So that gives us a polyflow that starts. And so what that means is if we later, when we start to subdivide in the torso, there's going to be sections specifically in the torso where those loops are defined. We were doing a lot of that before with the legs and stuff, but we didn't really do that in the torso area, and it was a little problematic. But this should get around a lot of that. So now what we need is let's see. Really, actually, I should probably bring this all the way down. I was thinking of doing it more as the abdomen in its own section, but also I basically need this same shape down here anyway. So what? Yeah. I can make this work. That's fine. Yeah. So then, if we bring this out, what I think I should be able to do I'll need some more fine-tuned adjustment. This is just like a quick way of bringing all these over. Oh, we have an ad break. I did not even notice. Ah, shit. I will fix that after the ad break. Okay, I think we're about to be out of ads in just a moment. Okay. Alright, we are out of the ad break. All right. Bring that out there. Cool. And then we probably want to start a new flow direction around here, if possible. Which I say that like it's not possible. It definitely is possible. The best way to do that, though, is, let's see, because the flow for this should probably go well, shoulder loops will go around. So for us, the shoulder loops will need to go around this way. So what we probably need to have happen here is start a loop that goes up that way. So like this guy here. It's going to be narrow. Because then what we can do is send those around that way. Whereas the rest of these can continue to go up this direction. So like we can bring this up here. And I think that'll work. Ah, shit. Bring these down. Okay. All right, let me save the file first real quick. And then I want to take this guy and I'm gonna try to do something here. Can duplicate that? No. Oh, I gotta be in object mode. Okay. And so now there it is. Interesting that it's slightly off. That's kind of strange. I mean, it's my fault for the cropping of it, but you would think that he would be sized a little differently. Opacity is what I'm looking for. Yeah. And I can like turn him on optionally when I need him for this view. I mean, that's... technically lined up. Pretty close to lined up. Oh, no, I see. He's scaled a little weird, I think. It also could be that Blender may be distorting the image a bit based on the image plane that I put it on. Height, I believe is this one. Because I recall having to fiddle with these image planes quite a bit, and I may have skewed them in a way that is affecting my ability to do something like this. Okay. Let me just do this. And then what I could do is first get sort of a separating line created here. And then I could model the back separately and then attach them. Let's see. I want to do this. Kind of like that. And make this as sort of a flat, somewhat separating line here. Do this like that. That actually might be too flat in a way. And then bring this one down. think that'll work out. It doesn't look too crazy in the perspective view. It looks a little weird orthographically, but that's actually not that uncommon. Okay. If I bring I have an idea. And bring that in. Okay. Then what we can do is bring this guy out. Which will create another edge loop. We can round it out a little bit. Then we can bring this one around for the outside loop. Yeah, we bring this in here. And we can slowly bring these out. And for the sake of sort of creating a waistline, more or less, we'll bring these out like this. All right, that keeps that from looking super flat. And it gives us some additional edge loops to work with. Now, what I would like to do is work on the back. And I think the best way to do that if I do this guy like this. Now, this is going to create a big flat section, which I don't want, but will be fine for the moment. I wouldn't even say it needs to be that big, to be honest. Because then I can take this. Oops. Give me those. I want to split this. Yeah. Cool. Oh, that's not quite what I wanted to do. Can I? Okay. I want to make this into its own face. That's cutting geometry. I thought... Separate? Yeah, that's what I wanted. So now I can take this guy. Which, yes, still is operating with modifiers, so that's good. And then I can switch this around and switch this around. And we can make some adjustments. Let's say we bring Hey Zoomers. How did the rest of your stream go? I had to AFK for a while and then eventually start up my own stuff. Okay, now the result of that is that they won't perfectly line up. But I think we'll be fine. I'll bring these in a smidge. And then, the heck? Why? Oh, there we go. Now I was suddenly at, oh, because I was trying to click on the wrong side. Just being dumb. Alright, I'm going to start by bringing this over. Because once I do that, I can draw edge loops to divide it up. Why is that so off-center? I guess his spine is just crooked in the drawing. Okay, I can work with that. Also added an edge loop, which will also now not line up, but it'll be fine. Because we're going to be doing those around the arms, which will give me some wiggle room. to change up how the edge loops flow. Oh, did they actually attach or something? Right, until it to merge like that. Oh, we have an ad break. Let's see. Still got a little bit on that. Okay, we are coming back from ads. In fact, we should be back from ads already. I'm just checking on something real quick. Okay, should be fine. And let's see. Let's do... So the way back loops tend to work is a little bit different than front loops. We'll probably something like there. It's almost in line with the back, the center of the spine. In fact, these actually probably would come in a little bit more because it is the spine we're talking about. And then the way I would probably do this The back, the spine being off center is throwing me a little bit, but what I would probably do, let's see, we're right about mid back, so I would want to do something like have, we'll say this guy be like about like that, and be like that. Because these loops would curve up this way. And then this it's going to be tricky to do because it's merged. It's managed to merge itself there at the center with its mirror. It's okay, I can do it like this. That'll curve upward. And then there, it can loop outward. And then probably about here. About mid-torso. So we'll say these 3 loops here are fine to stay relatively horizontal. Oh, it didn't even select the 3 that I wanted it to. Oh, because I'm on freaking vertices. I want this one, and this one. Okay. Let's say that guy like there. Let's see. Put that like that. And um, let's say this is probably in line with that. I should put this about right here. Ah, shit. There we go. we can run this guy. To here. Can I? Will this work? No, of course not. Technically, this creates a triangle, which I try to avoid generally, like manually creating everything's triangles, but I try to manually avoid creating triangles. However, it's only creating a triangle because of the mirror modifier on this mesh, because technically that is still a square. So what we should be able to do now is extrude this guy, or not. Gotta do it from this side because, again, the beer modifier has got us all messed up. And then we just give this a little more shape to it. And it should be all right. Okay, that fills that. Okay, we can do this too. Oops. Do like that. Did you? No, stop it. All right, we're gonna stretch that out just a bit. And let's see, I would say this is about as much as the back as we want to do at the moment, because we will have to redirect some of the loops back here to account for the hips and the legs. Because they have to, they have to basically like become vertical cylinders. Okay, I think now what I want to do this is our middle back, so I want this flow to start going up this way. So like, this is sort of a rough direction, but I wanted to sort of do this number. And then because it's going to change its direction, we need basically this to come out this way. Because effectively this is following like the shoulder blades, more or less. So I want to bring these up. Yeah, that'll be like that for now. That'll be fine. Alright, that should start to help direct that flow a bit. And basically bring this up. This up. If we bring in the front and kind of compare the two. one of the things I can plan to do here, for the sake of the edge loops, is bring this guy down to here and have this guy connect to this guy. So that'll fit in there, which is where we added another loop to. Cool. And then we can bring the neck hold on. We can go ahead and bring this up. Because it's going to have its own sort of setup here. To bring this down a smidge. And okay. So with these, that sort of stays that way. But what we do set up for is we want basically right from here, the flows will start going this way. But then these flows should still kind of go this way. It's kind of the general idea. So let's see, we want this to more or less end up here. As part of our shoulder loops. Probably like this a little bit. And then we need to bring these in a little more. We have an ad break. It should be over in about 10 seconds or so. Cool. Alright. So, we're back from ads. And we want to bring these in a bit because we're going to just kind of fill this gap right here. So then, should be able to just kind of, oop. And these should be close enough that I can just merge at center. Okay. Something like that. Um, yeah, let's do something like that. Bring that up. let's see. Cool. So that creates those loops. So I think we can now unhide this. Hide that one. And start to reattach these. Join. Okay. I don't guess it actually matters which one joins into which, because their origins were the same. Alright, so now we need to merge our seam here. Stop it. Stop it. There we are. Cool. Let's make I want to view it without the wireframe, which to do that, which thingy was it under? This is one of the things I'm not a fan of with Blender, as opposed to Maya, is that if I want to, yeah, here it is. If I want to view the mesh, without it being like, I can't just turn on the wireframe in one view, or it's everything seems to be view specific. Also, I can't just like hit this on a viewport to do something. I have to come in here. It's really kind of weird, and I don't like that part. But it's a pretty minor nitpick, if I'm honest. This is turning out to be already, I think, at least I feel right now, a much better mesh than what I had the first time. Part of that is more experience with Blender that I didn't have. And then the other part, of course, is we do have a better reference this time. But there was definitely an aspect of it that it was like getting used to the controls in Blender as opposed to Maya was causing part of my problem. Okay, we got those. And then we can insert some edges. Yeah, I think that'll be good. Zoomers, I love the little Pedro. I love those. Anyone who has those little emojis or little emotes. I haven't gotten one of those because I don't have any more emote slots, I think, at the moment. But I love the dancing around. I think I'm gonna have to make some changes to this part of the polyflow because I, again, reused part of this mesh. And I think that has led to an issue. Specifically up in here in the torso. I really should have let's see. So down at the bottom we did this, where this kind of curves around. You know what? Can I do this work? So we have a polyflow that's like doing this. And that's good. But what really should be happening is you should be able to follow this guy up, and that much you can. Ah, shit! I'm apparently drawing it on the back. Okay, you know what? I know we did just attach this stuff, and that's all fine and dandy. But what I'm going to do here is separate it so that I can properly mark stuff. No, face detection. We want face. We're going to split it here. Separate. Selection. Cool. Yeah. So now I can draw just on the one I want to. Yeah, so we've got this polyflow, right? It goes like this. I guess I should do it from the front perspective, right? We can hide the rear for now. So, where's it drawing it at? Really would assume that it would draw it on the surface, but whatever. Yeah, so our polyflow, right, is going up here. And that's fine for that part. But once it reaches up here in the chest, it really probably about here-ish needs to come back in. And actually, depending on how detailed you were getting, you would probably almost do more of a this. And then have these be their own thing. And then these would end up being their own thing too. But we aren't dealing with that level of detail, so I'm not that concerned. It's more about making sure that it bends properly in those areas more than anything else, because it's more of an animation thing. If you were building this as a static model, polyflow, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, because it can. It'll make life a lot easier for texturing, but it's more of an animation thing than anything else. So, since that's technically not right, I may want to change that. There's still enough detail in here that actually probably would animate fine. The main thing is that it plays a role into how, as well as how new edge loops get added. If I wanted to add an edge loop, you'll see that if I add it here, it goes all the way up. If I add it here, it wants to go out and around. Here it goes around horizontally. So there's, when it comes time to subdivide this, which I will have to do when I'm sculpting in for normal maps and then detailing for texture work, the way it subdivides is going to be determined by these flows. Now what I could do that would probably be fine and would also create that sort of flow that I'm looking for would be to have the right here at the neck. It's a little high from where I would originally have done it, but I could have that sort of done up here. So, like And actually, it would cause it to kind of mirror what we've got at the back, so that actually may work out. Again, we're technically making a triangle here, which you generally want to avoid. Making triangles manually, as they're not great for topology, but I don't know that in the long run it's going to matter, because technically it's only like, if it wasn't for the mirror, the way the mirror modifier works in Blender, I would have just made this, I would have just extruded from here straight across. But I think it'll be fine. There are way worse topology things in AAA modern games nowadays, especially now that nanite's a thing. That's actually sort of the downside of doing the high poly modeling through sculpting. Basically, it's half the time they don't like re-topologize that shit, or they do like an automated job of it, which at that scale you kind of have to, but that means that like it's just done through an algorithm, and it ends up being kind of ass. So now we take this guy, put him here. Okay, that kind of gives us what we need, yeah. And then we can take these. Nope. 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 What? Oh. I don't want to talk about it. It's there. Yeah. That was very dumb of me. And the fact that I tried it several times before I realized what it was doing. Yeah, so then we bring this over. I'm gonna bring that like that, and then like that. Okay, that should create a decent enough point. Okay. Oh, thank you for the alert, Tater. I just saw that. I was in the zone. Okay, now I think I can join these back together. I will say, one big advantage in Blender that you didn't really have in Maya, at least not in the versions of Maya that I was comfortable with, or to my knowledge, is that the mirror modifier makes it where you can, if you're building a mirror to mesh, you can work on it without like having to have the other half of the mesh actually exist. Like, I don't have to choose between working on half a mesh and assuming I know what it'll look like once I mirror it and connect it. So I get like that point of view, right? So that is a pretty big benefit. Because what I would often do is be working on a mesh that I was going to mirror, and it would usually mean working on part of it and either deleting half the mesh and then just working, remirroring, or it would end up with like working on it roughly with both sides, deleting it and remirroring it once I was happy with one side. But that would also mean that like if I was on one side of it and wanted to, like if I wanted to do this, but I only wanted this side, I would have just selected random or whatever verts were behind mesh on the other side. You know, with this, I don't actually interact with that because it doesn't actually exist in a way. It kind of exists because it seems like it will lock verts on here, and that there's a setting in here for that, I think. Yeah, merge. So, but yeah, I think that's this pretty big benefit overall is having that feature. All right, so our arm loops. I would say this probably should go like that. And then we can bring this one over. Yeah. Okay. I think we've got a good portion of that done. I do wish, and this is on me because I could have directed it to be done a little different. I do wish the arms were a little higher in the drawing. That is on me. They're at least in line this time. Up, we got an ad break. Need another cough drop. Let's see. Let's see. All right, we are back from ads. Let's see. Sorry, a bunch of spam messages. Cool. Alright. Let's see. Okay, this will give us pretty good flow into here. And then I think what we'll do is connect this guy into here. I'm gonna let those two meet halfway. I'm actually going to bring this guy up more. In preparation to connect him to that. And so then when I do this number and do it like that, there. Let's see, we do something like that. Should be able to do like that. That should work a little bit. I didn't really need to shrink it this direction at all. Let's see. Bring that more like that. I think that'll work. I think all in all, that is pretty good start at a new torso mesh. this point, I think it's gonna be time to wrap up stream for the evening. I am planning to do an earlier stream tomorrow. Like I'll still do my regular gaming stream probably at the regular time, but I'm thinking about doing a stream earlier in the day because I'll still be at home for some additional either of this or some regular game dev stuff. I'm not decided yet, but let's go. Pay a visit to I was going to say let's go pay a visit to Starby, but they seem to be having technical difficulties. So instead, let's go surprise our moderator, our other moderator. Amber's actually live. Oh, nope, that's still Starby's name. All right, let's do that. Raid Ambrosia. Alrighty, and I'm gonna call it a night and go get some rest since I am still sick. Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming out.